Now, I'm sure most of us know what the right brain is all about. So, if you think about this theory, it's basically that the left brain is all the traditional, logical, linear, quantitative kind of skills, whereas the right brain is the more emotional, empathetic, synthesis, things like that. So, when you think of traditional training courses, when we as e-learning designers, when we create learning objectives, thinking back to it, I think we all try to engage the left brain more. I think that's a consequence of just linearly aligning things to training. But then if you start to think at a higher level as how will this training be perceived by the learner? Will it give them a good reaction? Will they be happy to take it? Will they be engaged? That's when you try to think of the right brain stuff as well. So what we're trying to tell you today is we're trying to encourage you to think of the right brain effect of your training as well. So when you think of the right brain, it's all empathetic, it's subjective thinking, their own experience bringing into the fore. And at the end of the day, you're going to create this kind of learning environment that's more conducive to people using their own experiences, using the personal stories to sort of benefit the workplace, to sort of bring more into work, to do their job better. And that's what you are trying to achieve. So when you think of empathy and right brain learning, there's a couple of ways that we've done that in the past. So how can you drive empathy to training? We did it previously through storytelling. That's a really good way to do it, because as human beings, I think all of us really love the power of story. And in my own experience, when I was younger, I used to love listening to my grandfather tell stories from his younger days. So all of that really carries through generations. And if you're able to put your training in a story format, it's just going to be that much more, it'll resonate more with your learners. They're going to remember it more. They're going to be more open to taking training similar to that. Another way you can engage them through empathy is by using play. Now, I'm not saying you should actually create a game, a full 3D game of something, but try to use some of these game elements in your courses. For example, try to personalize the course, try to challenge people to remember something, try to show them a way that they can try to use their own existing knowledge to achieve something, to answer a question, for example. Simple things like this. Or even scoring a course and then showing them on the leaderboard as to how their colleagues are doing on the same course. All of these are options that you can try out, and it really drives the competitive nature. And again, competitive nature is more right brain than the left brain. And these are a few examples, actual cases that we've done that. So icebreaker questions can be shared at the beginning of courses. You can really drive down on your learning objectives, set them well, and really tell these adult learners how this course is going to help them do their job better. You can use a lot of scenarios to drive training. Again, scenarios are a really good way to engage that storytelling mode. And if you do it really well, they can, your learners will say, okay, these people know exactly what I might go through in my job. This reflects my day job completely. Let me actually go through the scenario since I'm so close to it. So that's how it's going to work. You can always do a lot of obstacles and competition, as I mentioned, in game-based training as well. So these are just some examples. Obviously, you have a lot of freedom to cater to this as your own audience or your own training topics would lend to. These are a couple of screenshots that we pulled out for you. So again, this is an example of a scenario when we have a dialogue between two people. We also have animated scenarios when people can just dive into it and then see what they would do in that situation. We would give them options as to what their reaction should be. We also have a lot of videos that we can show, just showing them scenarios of what can happen. And videos are a really good way of driving that story forward, starting off with a bang and then letting them engage with questions later on. We do a lot of storytelling through comic strips as well. Again, comic strips are a little tricky because although they're really, really good to do and really engaging, they really take a lot more in terms of development time and cost. So for high visibility courses, for leadership training, that's something I would really encourage you to think of comic strips for. Again, this is something really simple, but again, jog their memory, bring out something from their own workplace that they can use, that they can remember, and they can answer this question for. Yes, just simple things like that.